Hello? Hello, I'm here. Hello. Sorry about that. Something went wrong with the mic this morning. Morning, Diamond. Morning, Themba. Can you hear me okay? Let me know. Hopefully you can. Sorry I'm late. I got chatting to my spinning instructor this morning and I couldn't get away, so. Right. So, big day yesterday and today. Can you hear me okay? Nobody said they can hear me. My mic is making noise, but hopefully you can hear. Hello? Anybody out there? You're all toying with me, aren't you? Well, I've got output on my mic anyway, put it that way. So, right, I'm going to assume you can hear me. Today, big day, we've got the rates. So yesterday, can you enable the automatic captions in the live feed? I have no idea, Ravish. I don't know. I don't know what they are. I don't know. Don't know how to do that. Sorry. Send me a message in Telegram and tell me how to do it, and I'll do it. So yeah, yesterday, Aussie. Sorry, where am I? Wednesday. Canadian, sorry, yesterday. So we had the Aussie CPI in the morning, all came out positive, big move up on the Aussie. The Canadians decided to not increase their rates by 0.75 and went for a 0.5 increase. So that was a bit of a shock for the Canadian dollar. We had the CAD obviously dropping. So the rate that CAD sort of drops at will be really determined by let's find a CAD pair, shall we? CAD Swiss. By the US dollar, because the US dollar drags the CAD around with it as well. So when you get some negative news or positive news on the CAD, it will quite often get cancelled out by the US dollar. So can you guys hear me? You can hear me, yeah? I'm going to write on the screen. Can you hear me? Because no one's talking. No one's replying and saying they can hear me, so I don't know if you can hear me or not. If not, I'll just restart the stream. Yes, audio's great. Right, okay, great, thanks. Right, so yeah, so the CAD, obviously, we had a big move on the CAD. If we look at the US dollar CAD as well, I was on the US dollar CAD yesterday. I got out of that trade yesterday on US dollar CAD. There. So we had a big move, but it's all got undone straight away, and we're back basically into a range. So yeah, so I'm not sure what impact that's going to have, if any, because the CAD is very neutral at the moment. And from what Macklin was saying, it was all pretty hawkish, but not, I mean, I don't know, yesterday, it's a little bit difficult to sort of read yesterday. Christ, that was a long way back, wasn't it? A bit difficult to read what was being said yesterday. The next time the bank rises rates, it could be higher than usual hike, or it could be a normal sized hike. And basically what they were saying was early promising signs that underlying inflation is coming down. So this is the reason for the 0.5 instead of the 0.75. They think they're getting on top of inflation, which I would be surprised if they are already, but it may be that they are, because it's one of the highest rates, basically. So fingers crossed, they might be one of the first to be getting on top of inflation, but we'll wait and see what happens. I doubt it, but they decided not to, and obviously the markets didn't really worry too much about it. We had the usual spike, which we always get when there's some news, but you know, there was no follow through. So I got out of that one quite nicely. I was quite happy with the exit on that. Markets just opened. Morning, Jane. Morning, Brian. Morning, Johannes. I haven't said hello already this morning. I just want to, I'm going to play an opening range break this morning. I'll do it on here as well. I'm just doing it on my funded account. I've got a feeling we might get a bit of movement this morning. So yeah, CAD basically rates not as expected, but no massive impact, which is unusual. So we will see what happens today with them. The markets, I don't think, are going to be massively energetic this morning because obviously we've got the big old rate today, 0.75 again for the euro. This is a biggie. This is the second largest currency. So this is going to be fairly big mover today. There's going to be a lot of money sitting around waiting for this to come out before they actually decide to do anything. So that's coming out at 115, and then we've got US dollar GDP at 130, which is probably going to be overshadowed quite a lot, I would imagine, by this move on the euro. So this is the big one today, 115. Then we got the press conference at 1:45. So I've got some deep drawdown. I'll go through what happened to me yesterday. I had a nightmare yesterday. Made a load of loss yesterday. I've got a fair bit of euro shorts on, so I'm hoping that they basically come out at 1.75. That would be absolutely perfect for me if they come out at 1.75 today, as obviously the Canadians did. But I don't think they will, to be honest. So I think we're going to see potentially a bit of strength in the euro this afternoon, but we will see what happens. Sorry, one sec. Oh, that's why my mic was screwed this morning. My software updated for the microphone. So yeah, that's the biggie today. That's what we've got to be watching for. I haven't been through the news this morning because I haven't been here. Let's have a quick whiz through that. Demonstrate the phone call. Oh yeah, yesterday as well, we announced in the UK that we're putting our budget back to November the 17th. So they're pushing it back 2 weeks, basically. So we're not going to have any fiscal policy for 2 weeks, which is a nightmare in the UK. So I don't expect any movement on the UK, on the pound, although that is moving. So as markets now, Biden's team rework plan for Russian oil cap. Yeah, nothing much overnight. So that's what we've got to look forward to. There's our opening range going in. We've got nearly just under 2 minutes on the opening range this morning. So yesterday, US dollar CAD, I'll go through the trades from yesterday. So US dollar CAD, I closed out, where are we, 26th yesterday? I didn't get my windscreen repaired either yesterday. I went all the way over to Brighton, which is about 11 miles away from me, and dropped the car off at the windscreen place. Had to be there early at 9 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock, which is why I didn't do the live room yesterday. And we said we're wandering off to Brighton, so I took the family into Brighton, and then got a phone call 2 hours later saying, really sorry, but the windscreen is damaged. I said, I know, my windscreen's damaged, that's why I'm here. And he laughed and said, no, the new one's damaged. Right. So I've now got to go back again and get it done. So I'm probably not going to do that. My wife's probably going to do it for me, but long and the short of it, it was a complete waste of an entire morning yesterday. So I didn't trade yesterday very much. But I closed out some bits and pieces. So Aussie New Zealand yesterday closed out these two. Let's go on the hourly so we can see them. So last two, those two Aussie New Zealands, which gave me a nice little profit, 0.9%. Still got 2 on that. Sorry, I've got 3 on that because I had 2, and I popped another one on yesterday as we broke. We have fairly decent move yesterday, so I added another one on basically as we broke because I thought off the back of the Australian news that we were going to get a big rally. We didn't quite get that rally, so we've just kind of returned. But we have made a decent move on Aussie New Zealand. Finally, we've been looking for this break here, and it finally happened. So we got the break yesterday. We're coming back to retest now. So we got this reversal alert, retested and pushed. Yeah, we're just coming back. So hoping this is next leg. So this is where I was looking for us to get to, which we did. We came back into the area of balance and we're pushing back out of it. So the sellers have taken control back again. So we need to see if the buyers have got momentum off of this move now. So hopefully this is going to turn out to be the peak formation low and we're going to start a new market structure to the upside. So I put another one on, hoping that we're going to get a rally on that today. US dollar yen. What was that? That was not an order. US dollar CAD, closed that one out. Again, this one was a close based on the Canadian news. So basically, as we pushed up into here, I put a break even on it in case the news came out massively positive for the CAD, and then it would stop me out. It didn't. It came out as negative, so we pushed up. I got out of that one up there on a trailing stop, and then we pushed back down and reset. So that was a pretty good trade there. And all my Euro Swisses. US dollar yen I got out of this morning. There. So that was my final US dollar yen. Yeah, that one, which I got out of half of it there, left the other half on, and my target was these lows, which we hit this morning. So I'm out of that one. Let me just quickly look at the DAX, and then I'll cover the Euro Swiss. There's our opening range. So I'm looking for an opening range breakout play this morning. I get a feeling we might get some movement on the markets ahead of Euro. We might not do it. It might be range bound this morning. So I'm just waiting to see. When you have big news on the index's main currency, if you look back historically when there's rate announcements, you either get one of them just go range bound and it's a horrible choppy one, or you get a smash out and a trend for the morning ahead of the rate. So I'm looking for that trend play this morning potentially. If you look at the DAX yesterday, we had another update. So obviously earnings are going well at the moment. We are update after update after update at the moment. So I'm looking for continuation basically on this. So any kind of sort of pullback and push this morning. We had a lovely gap fill this morning. That wasn't around to take advantage of that one this morning, but that was a lovely little gap fill there. So what is the opening range? The opening range is, let's go 500, and I'll go, let's go for a 2 to 1. Whoa, that's not right. Okay, so I'm going to go buy stop last and sell stop last. So I'm just basically straddling. I'm looking for the opening range break this morning. See if we can get a move on that. And I'm playing the same move on the funded account, which is 500. Right. So Euro Swiss. This will make you laugh. Brokers, don't we just love them? So aggressive drawdown control yesterday. Look at this for a stop out this morning. Took an aggressive drawdown control position before I went to bed yesterday. Yeah, so we pushed up, pulled back, pushed up, double topped, took that liquidity out, pulled down, and we looked like we were going to make a new low. So I put a position on there, another aggressive position. Put my stop above the highs, as you can see there, and then that's where we closed. We opened here, and somehow I got stopped out, even though as soon as we opened, we collapsed and tanked. Broker manipulation, spread manipulation, theft, whatever you want to call it. Broker stole it again. And how many times have I been on here in the live room and shown you this happening? This is why you don't use stocks overnight, because the broker will just nick them. That's their job, is stealing your money. You signed a contract to say, I give you authorization to take all of my money out of my account. Read your contract. Give it to a solicitor. They'll call you a nutter for signing it. But you've signed a contract which basically says they will honor the best prices possible at the time when you enter your positions. They will tell you that's the best price they could offer you at the swap by spreading the hell out of it and taking your money. And that's what they do every single night. So yeah, lovely little stop out. Thank you very much, Mr. Broker, as if I wasn't cross enough about this one yesterday. Anyway, so these are all my aggressive drawdown control positions I stopped out on yesterday. And also I scaled out and took losses on Euro Swiss as well. So I have had no luck getting anything aggressive working on this at all, this Euro Swiss. So these are the aggressive positions here. I had one there which stopped out. I had another one there which I put on as we push back down, put in a new lower high. I was expecting a start like that. Didn't get that either. So I stopped out on those aggressives there. This is my second day of attempting aggressive drawdown control on this. And usually if I've got a couple of days of aggressive drawdown control and I'm not getting anywhere, I then start to scale out, which is what I did yesterday. So I took some losses on this one yesterday. I'm going to have to go out a little bit further for you to see them because they're quite far back, as you can see. So I took this one off here, completely closed out in a loss. I took this one off here, completely closed out in a loss. You can't see that one because it's hourly. Where we're there. So this one I took off because it's a little bit too close, a little bit too scaled in. This was a manual position. The rest are taken with the EA. So I took that one off as well and closed out with a loss. So I took 6%, 6.5% loss on this yesterday, 6.8. And I'm sitting in 9% still sitting in 6% on this Euro Swiss. Cannot get on top of this one at all. Totally read this wrong. This thing is just not stopping this euro. So this is buying into the rate announcement. And this is what slightly worries me, is the market is buying into the rates. If we get the rates come out today not as expected, this is going to come down hard, fast, which is going to be fantastic. But if the rates come out as expected, one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to get a rally, a continuation rally, or we are going to get, I suspect, a pullback because the market has priced in 0.75%. Yeah, so the market is, this is what we see in here all the time in financial juice. There won't be a red one. There might be a red one. But the market prices in rate increases. So when we're seeing something moving, it's moving towards the rate announcement in the assumption that that is what we're going to get. Can't find any in here at the moment, but you'll see in here market factors in 0.75 rate increase, etc., etc. And there was some on the pound yesterday, I'm pretty sure, but trouble is it's not red. But anyway, so it's factored in. They factored in a 0.75 increase. So that move is happening because of the rate announcement. If the rate announcement comes out as expected, we're either going to get a rally, but the trouble is we are massively exhausted already. So the likelihood is I think we may well get a profit take either way, but we could well get a spike. So we'll wait and see what happens. But they will want to pull back before they do the next leg. So I've got a sell stop in here. Obviously, this is now, some people were saying this is like 10 plus days. I haven't got 10 plus days because I've got a down candle there, but that could well be a positive candle or a doji for someone else. But we've definitely got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, class that as a 9, 10, 11 solid days up on the Euro Swiss. This thing is on an absolute mission at the moment. So it's just not giving any respite, no pullbacks whatsoever. So when that happens and I get to a point where I'm over aggressive and I can't get out, I have to start getting out of the position and reducing, because otherwise, it just gets out of control. So I had to reduce the lot size down on it. But that's what we do. This is what this is for. Your month, your profits are there in case you get into a squeeze. And that's what I've done. So the market giveth with one hand and taketh away with the other, as they say. So I've got an aggressive ready to go on this. So I'm 1.6 and one lot short on it at the moment. So I've got 50% position on the lows of Asia. So depending on what happens today with the euro, if we do get that pullback rally starting, I will be out and done. If we don't, I will just obviously have to look at it again and play it by ear. But this is a massive squeeze at the moment with the euro, and it's not just Euro Swiss. Not Euro pound. Obviously, pound is a nutter. But we've had consistent movement. If you look at the US dollar as well, we are still bearish on it. But look at this for against the US dollar. It's huge. I've got shorts on Euro US as well, which the EA has taken for me because we're massively in a downtrend, and we've had this US dollar weaken exactly the time that they've powered the euro up into the rate announcement. So it's just the perfect storm at the moment. So hence my P&L looking unhealthy. But where there is a pump, there is a dump. So it's just, you've got to be careful in these situations that you don't get in too aggressive, that you basically can't withstand the squeeze. If the squeeze gets up to there, I need to be able to withstand it. The only reason I got in super aggressive on this one, and way more aggressive than I normally would, you know, I wouldn't normally take 1.5 short on it. And that the only reason I did it was because I could. If I had, you know, a normal sort of 10 or 15% profit month, I wouldn't have got in with 3 positions. So I would have just taken the 1 on it. But as we started to push, you can see why I did it. I put it in the Telegram group as well. But you can see why I was getting in so aggressive on this one. You know, I had one there. Yeah, we started to push back down. So I added another position because it looked like the move was starting. But it just didn't. You just couldn't get any traction, unfortunately. Weak Swissy as well, which hasn't helped with this one. We've had a weak Swiss franc. So just one of those squeezes. But you know, it's all to do with comfort levels, as I say in the boot camp. You get out when you are uncomfortable, and I'm uncomfortable, so I got out. But got 1.5% of that back today. You know, and you've seen it in here before. You've seen me being in, you know, 6, 10, 12% of drawdown in the morning, and then I post in the afternoon 4.5% gain, and I'm flat. Yeah, happens all the time. We're just at that, you know, the elastic band analogy. We are at that stretch level, the extreme stretch level at the minute. Yeah, this is proper stretched. Multiple squeezes at the same time on the Swissy, the Euro, the US dollar, and the pound, all at the same time. I'm just in multiple squeezes. But Swissy seems like it gets pushed around a lot. Yeah, Swissy pushes around a lot. This is the thing with the Swiss franc. It's because it's a lot of the money goes through the Swiss banking system. In FX, a lot of the transaction, a lot of the OTC transactions, interbank over the counter. OTC stands for over the counter. A lot of the OTC transactions interbank go through the Swiss banking system, which is why you get these sudden moves in the Swissy. So it pushes around a lot. But when it's not being utilized, yes, it will get pushed around. Like things like the yen, you know, it will get pushed around when it's not got any strength going through it. So yeah, so that's state of play at the moment. So I've got exposure on at the moment on the euro short twice. So the EA got me into euro US dollar. So I've got the EA running on the normal pairs. I'm going to be looking at that at the end of this week. I'll be readjusting the EA. So obviously, as you know, at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm looking for trend-based entries only. Depending on what happens today, obviously with the euro US dollar, we could be seeing potentially a fundamental shift. We could also just be seeing the end of the extreme. Yeah. Look what happens every time we poke our head above the 72 historically. Yeah. So, you know, this, I mean, this is what I'm saying about being super stretched at the moment. We are at the squeeze, at the ultimate end of the squeeze, potentially. So what I will do, if we're not back down here by Friday, if we're not back down below the 72 by Friday, I will be turning the EA off as shorts on this, and may flip long euro. But sounds weird to say, doesn't it? I've been short the euro for probably, what, 3 years now? It just feels really weird to say I might go long on the euro. Odd. But anyway, yeah, 2 years at least I've been short euro. Started getting short on the euro somewhere around there. But yeah, anyway, we will see. It all depends what happens with the rates, and it all depends what happens in the press conference. We've got no movement on the DAX this morning. I'm not into any opening range breakouts because we haven't broken out of the range. Stating the obvious, but we are. So we might well just be going into rotation this morning. I'll give it a couple of, a few more candles, and see how we can move that around. So I was just reading your message, Ravi, about the captions. I'll see if I can turn that on, but if they're automatic, can you turn them off? If I turn on automatic closed captions, can people turn them off? Because I find them really annoying. They really, it's like when you're watching a film that's got subtitles. You end up just watching the subtitles, not the film. When I watch YouTubes that have got automatic captions on, I just read the captions. You're not watching, you're not concentrating on what's going on, which is, so if you can't turn them off, I don't really want to turn them on. 99% of people that watch the stream speak English, so don't really need them. Well, I've been 100% of the people that watch the stream speak English, because there's no point in watching it otherwise, because you wouldn't understand a word I'm saying, would you? So I'm not with it this morning. Lack of sleep again. Still got a poorly wife, coughing all night. I'm sure it's coming. I'm going to get it. Right. So that's a recap of where we are. Nothing much going on this DAX at the moment. So let's have a look at what we've got today. There's nothing on the ADRs yet. We've got a lot of weeklies which have been hit. But obviously today, there's not a lot of point really in getting into anything much until we've got this out of the way today. So once the euro rate is out of the way, we will have an idea what the market's going to make of this. Of course, there's a super slim chance, probably 5%, 4% maybe, we go like that. I would say there's probably a 25 to 30% chance we do that, and 75% a chance we do that. That would send the market into loony mode. The euro is going to go 300 ADR plus. That could possibly tank it. That could possibly tank it or go sideways. So we've got more in our favor at the moment of euro coming down. But until this is out, it's very little point in getting into anything, because I think, as you can see by the DAX this morning, we're going to just get sideways today. It looks like market's not interested in doing anything. So we've got weekly ranges. Aussie dollar CAD, very extended. So 211, 213 on a 141 weekly range. So very big strong push on that. Obviously the reason for that being the Australian CPI yesterday, all coming out as positive. Inflation is good for the currency, not good for the economy, good for the currency. Not good for anybody apart from the currency. That's what inflation helps. So we had that push on the Aussie. At the moment, we're getting a little bit of a retracement going on there. Multi-day M pattern being formed. If we break the Asian lows today, ignore that overnight candle, we've got a good chance of dropping. Nice extended on the RSI yesterday off the back of that move. We've got the Aussie New Zealand, as we know. We got a lovely extension on that one, which obviously has reversed yesterday, because we've got a fairly strong New Zealand dollar. So I'll be scaling back into that one again. And again, this is another one that's got me squeezed at the moment, this Aussie. It's just squeeze land at the moment for me. Everything that I've got into, I keep saying, the problem with a trend trader is at some point you're going to get in when that trend is ending. Yeah. And a lot of people get into trends at the end of the trend because they've identified the trend. You don't identify a trend until something starts trending normally. This is the problem with trend trading. So you go, oh, this is trending, I'm going to get into this, bang, and it stops trending. But as long as it goes into a range, it doesn't matter, does it, as a position trader? What I don't want to do is just now go into the opposite trend fast. So we've pulled back into the 72 and reacted. So I need to scale into this. I'm hoping we're just going to get a double bottom bounce and go into a range. We've had a good, strong Australian figure, which should bolster the Aussie. So obviously we're coming down to an ADR on this today. As soon as we get that ADR hitting, I would expect us to start some kind of movement back to the upside there. So I'll add in another position somewhere down here. So that one's extended to the upside, obviously, on the weeklies. Aussie dollar, US dollar, again, extended to the upside. That's Monday there. So big, strong move on Aussie US. We've got a really weak US dollar at the moment. Yeah, so it's taking advantage of that. We need some strength coming through on the US. News-wise for the US, we've got GDP figure this afternoon. They're expecting 2.3%. I don't think they're going to get that. Might do, don't know. But that seems like a very, very big forecast to me. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. If we don't get that, obviously it's not going to be good. But and then the other big one we've got tomorrow is the yen. So we've got PCE tomorrow for the US dollar. So from a US dollar perspective, with the opportunities to power that up, we've got GDP this afternoon. We've got the yen. If the yen powers up, that will weaken the US dollar. So we need to see what happens with that. If the yen weakens, that will power up the US dollar. And then we've got PCE for the US dollar tomorrow. So we've got 3 news events potentially coming, which are going to impact the yen tomorrow. The US dollar. So we could well have a nice drop on this one. Lots of targets to aim for on the way up on this. That one got respected beautifully. We had propulsion gap put in there. That's an overnight candle. So that hasn't really been tested yet. So we've still got an open target down there. We've got this one here as well, which I think will probably come and test. So I think we've got some downside on it today. We're going to need a bit of US dollar strength though. So we might get that when the euro rates are coming out. Weeklies as well. All the yens, obviously. CAD yen. CAD yen, where's Monday? There. Oh yeah, so that was all the yens basically that are lit up on here. There, that second intervention. So ignore all those. CAD yen, euro CAD. Obviously, we know the euro is extended. Big strong move from the euro. That hit on the Canadian dollar spike as well. We've got Euro US, we've looked at New Zealand dollar CAD. Again, hit on the CAD. I've got sell on that one at the moment. The EA's got me into that because we are extended above 75 on RSI and we had a reverse alert on M5. So the EA's got me into a short on that. Got an opening range breakout to the downside on the DAX. So there's my entry on the reversal alert there. And just retested. So hopefully we'll get that drop. Nice M pattern formation. And what else we got? New Zealand CAD. New Zealand US. Again, this is all off of US dollar weakness. You know, the US dollar doesn't remain weak for long. It's the strongest thing out there at the moment. So these should all come down at some point. And US dollar CAD. Obviously, the US dollar CAD, I got out of that long. Have got the EA still running on this. So from a trend-based perspective, we're spot on where I want to be in the 24.72 area. I was cautious with this one. You see, I've been milking this. This is my 3rd long on this. How's this for counter trend trading? Look. Well, it's not. It's trend-based trading, but it's all mean reversion. So lots, three lovely longs. Look. So I will keep rinsing and repeating that process as long as we get extensions. So DAX just broken out the lows. So short one on the DAX. I might well get stopped out on this today, but I'll be watching if we can get down there. We'll see on this one. Might be a tricky one today. Might be a little bit whippy. US dollar CAD. So yeah, still like that long. Oops. Obviously, so just looking for pullbacks. That's a lovely double bottom bounce yesterday as well. And US dollar yen. Right, so US dollar yen I got out of yesterday as well. So took my final one there, down to this low. We've just taken the low out. But the interesting thing here is this intervention and second intervention have stuck this time. So if you look at the US dollar yen, obviously we've had a weak US dollar, which the yen has managed to take advantage of. If you look at all the other yens out there, we're sideways on New Zealand, pretty sideways on the pound, euro mainly sideways as well, Swiss a little bit weak because we know we've got a weak Swissy at the moment, which is why my euro Swiss is going mental, and CAD, we had a weak CAD. So if you look at what's actually happening off of these interventions that we've had, the yen is a little strong, but not massively strong. This is mainly the US dollar weakness. All of these others are a little bit weak to sideways. So this intervention that we had is holding. But I wouldn't say there's an awful lot of market follow through on it at the moment. So again, very difficult to tell what to do with this yen at the minute. We've had no more mutterings overnight from Japan about the rates and how they're going to intervene, which is unusual. Oh, hang on. No, we're still deciding on stimulus measure. There was a little bit. Tomorrow, a stimulus package will be announced. Yeah, that's tomorrow morning. We know all about that. Okay, so they are considering a stimulus package. So this, we need to be very careful. If you've got any yens on tomorrow, at the moment, there's a good possibility we are going to get everything tanking against the yen tomorrow. So this could be quite a good move tomorrow. So yeah, at the minute, it's holding its own, I would say. Yeah, it's not weak. It's holding its own, which is good because it's showing that this intervention has spooked the market into, right, okay, we don't want to be pummeling the hell out of the yen now. There's something coming. Yeah, after the last one, obviously, we saw here, we just retraced the entire thing. This one, we're holding. We haven't retraced it with a lot of them. So there's a good chance we're going to get some yen strength coming through. That's all being announced tomorrow morning, somewhere around about 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning, usually. So during the Asian session. So that's all your weeklies. 4 hours, there's quite a few as well. We've got the Aussie dollar CAD. Massive push up on that one. We had strong CPI figures from Australia. We had the CAD rates weakened. That obviously gives us a bias Aussie long, CAD short. So we've had that big strong push to the upside. So it's taken us extended. So it's either going to be a pullback and push, or we're going to continue business as usual. At the minute, you just can't tell what is going to happen because it's changing on a daily basis, and everything is changing. Everything is impacting every other currency at the minute because everything's being pumped through the US dollar. So obviously, the US dollar drags the CAD around as well. So, you've got lots of currencies all interacting with each other at the minute. It's very difficult to pick a direction, but anything that gets extended without any kind of profit take move is due a profit take. So we should get a decent move to the downside on this sort of spike here. Not necessarily going to happen straight away at the moment, but that's nicely extended. So there's an opportunity for shorts on that one, Aussie dollar CAD. I don't think I've got that running on the EA. Aussie New Zealand, Aussie Swiss. No. So yeah, good opportunity there. Hourly extension you had as well yesterday. Aussie dollar, US dollar. Again, nice extended on the hourly yesterday. We're extended on the 4 hour, in line with trend. So again, 72.24 area is perfect, where we look for trend continuations when we pull back into this area. Obviously, you could get that kind of movement. So not necessarily just because we're extended does not mean we're coming straight down. It just means we're extended. We're likely to get a profit take at some point. That profit take can take the form of any price pattern, basically. But, it can still go sideways and the RSI just drop and the next time it hit down. But yeah, opportunities to start getting into a position on that one short. No reason I can see at the moment why we shouldn't have continuation strength on the US dollar. It's just weak at the moment. I can pick a direction opposite any trades I'm in, Diamond says. Yeah, same as me at the minute. But that's what happens. Just happens that way. Sometimes you get squeezes and multiple squeezes, which is where we are at present. Lots of good rejection on the DAX. I'm just going to I want to scale into this with a few positions. So bear with me, I'm just putting these on my other. Okay. I'm just moving orders around. One sec. Okay. So we've got some decent rejection this morning. Obviously, we've pushed up, tried again to make a new high, failed, come down. Buyers have tried to buy, failed, failed. We've just tried to push up, failed, failed. Got 2 minutes left on this candle. But I would say if this candle breaks the opening range, we will have a crack at the low of New York yesterday. If we can break that New York low, I think we've got a rundown today. We'll see. Doesn't seem to be any real strength in either direction at the minute. So, but if we're going to break it, I just want to scale in and get out of it fast this morning because I don't think there's going to be much opportunity to make any money this morning. Aussie dollar, US dollar. Yep. So we've covered that one. 4 hour. We've got Euro CAD, which is just about extended as well to the upside. Obviously, we know about the euro at the minute. It's on an absolute mission. No point in taking any euro this morning. Euro Swiss, obviously, as we know, is in the same boat. I just picked, when you look at all of these, yeah, if I'd have picked any other euro pair, it's had some decent movement up and down, hasn't it? I just picked the one where we happened to strengthen massively. Oh, good drawing a line. Look. Oh, not sure about drawing lines. Happened to strengthen massively, and the Swiss franc happened to weaken massively at the same time. Just the perfect storm, unfortunately. But yeah, we know these are all extended. We're extended on the 4 hour there. We've been embedded on the hourly for a while now. So yeah, it's just one of those pairs at the moment stuck in. So both of these euros, but don't get into any euro unless you want to take a speculative short ahead of the news. There's a good opportunity to make a lot of money today on the euro. In either way, obviously, it can go either way. So be aware, obviously, though, we could just do that today because the market's already factored in 2%. If we get 2%, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get a massive move. That is already factored in, so it's not a shock. So we could just have, that sort of movement, and then off we go and carry on. But equally, the banks may well use this, and they've done it many times, to get a profit take move started. If it comes out at 2, everybody's going to be going, woohoo, yeah, long on the euro. The banks do completely the opposite to everybody. That's why they make money, because they do the opposite to everybody else. So wouldn't be surprised if we get a pullback. And there's really good pullback levels to aim for here as well. We've got these 2 levels here and here. And this is 1 ADR and 1.5 ADR to the downside. So well within reach from news, obviously, today. So decent moves potentially there. Euro Swiss. We've already used that support resistance there. Look, Euro Swiss isn't quite as cut and dry as the Euro US dollar from a support and resistance perspective. That's pushing up again this morning. Look. More strength into the news. So we see what happens when they take out yesterday's high. So that would be a good spot potentially for an entry at yesterday's high. If they pull back hard off of that into midline Asia, might be a good entry point up there. Pound CAD we've also got extended to the upside as well. So again, this pound uncharacteristically strong, considering we've got very, very, very unstable government. We've got no money in the pot. We've got no midterm fiscal policy in place. And the fiscal policy in place that was going to be announced on Monday has now been put back 2 weeks. I really can't understand. I mean, this is obviously based on the CAD, I guess, this one. But you look at the other pound pairs, you know, we're getting uncharacteristically strong pound movement. I think the market's like really happy. We've got new leadership in place, but that does not mean it's going to be good for the pound moving forward. We need to get on top of inflation, and at the moment we're not doing that. We've got probably the worst inflation out there, and we've got no fiscal policy in place to deal with it at the present. So I can't see it going anywhere but down at the moment. But anyway, we will see what happens. We need to wait another 2 weeks now before we're going to find out with the pound. So any pound pairs, obviously, they're in a massive downtrend at the moment, and we are pushing fairly hard to the upside. So I would expect at some point, you know, we're going to get a decent pullback on this move. How far it's going to go, difficult to tell. But you've got pound CAD and pound Swiss and pound US dollar all extended. Pound US dollar is my favorite of the lot at the moment, just because it's the US dollar. And we've just poked our head above the 72. So if we're going to continue that move and we're going to get that US dollar strength, this is probably the one that's going to move the fastest and the hardest. So, but equally, pound Swiss is well overdue, which is what I'm in at the moment, well overdue a drop. So all we've had on this one is like a pump, accumulation, pump, accumulation, pumping at the moment. Yeah, 3 pushes, you tend to get a pullback. So just no pullback there whatsoever. All we've had, if you think about it, since we had the problem and the bailout, all we've had is positive news, getting rid of prime ministers, installing new prime ministers, but nothing positive financially, yeah, which would indicate that we should be going up. So this is all just manipulation. I don't think it's something that's going to be sustained. We've got an ADR on Aussie New Zealand to the downside. So we're getting ready to get into another position on that one. Next reversal alert. So yeah, all these pounds nicely extended to the upside. Obviously, the pound is bearish at the moment, as we know. So just a little bit higher than usual. But again, we're in unusual circumstances at the moment. So you know, everything's thrown out on this. We've had a little bit of an overrun of strength on it. But no reason why this should be beating the US dollar down long term. So good entry point on that one. New Zealand dollar CAD also extended to the upside. Got one sell entered on this one now on the Canadian dollar weakness. New Zealand dollar has been fairly strong. We've had good news coming out of New Zealand dollar, but we've had better news coming out possibly from the Canadians yesterday. So they think they're getting on top of inflation. Over the next couple of weeks, we will find out what the market thinks of that and whether that is actually the case when more figures get released that support inflation reduction. If they come out, obviously that's going to power up. So very nice extended there. Again, you know, when you're looking at these strong trenders, these are the extremes in trends. Yeah, up into the 72, where we are now, and then continuations. And again, it's the same. It's fundamentally, unless something fundamentally shifts, there's no reason why we shouldn't continue the way that we're going at the moment. US dollar Swiss and US dollar yen. US dollar Swiss, I don't have a clue. I really don't. This thing is just it's just a mess. Very volatile at the moment. Very, very up and down. Swiss franc gets pushed and pulled around an awful lot, and the US dollar is obviously having a weak time at the moment. Look at this price action on the DAX. Look at these wicks. It's just wick, 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 wick. It's a wicky day. Look at that. Not one solid, there's not one candle there you could call a direction on. Yes, they've come down, but it's totally directionless. Playing without pilot at the minute. So I'm in short. I've got a feeling this is just going to flip-flop around all day today. So yeah, US dollar Swiss, obviously nice extended. Just switch that back over to 4 hours so I know where I am. And US dollar yen, obviously, I like it short based on yen tomorrow, but I don't think I'm going to get into this again ahead of the announcement tomorrow morning. If we get some strength on the yen, on the US dollar this afternoon, which means we need a weak index, which means we need weak earnings. Who have we got today? Who have we have yesterday? We had Ford, we had Facebook yesterday after market. What's happened to the NAS? Pre-market, we've got MasterCard, Shopify. Shopify, God, this used to be $180 stock, Shopify. I remember when I was stock trading this. I think it's 30 now, and is it or something? $29. We said at $29 on Shopify now. Look where we were, like $160, not $180. $160 last year. Not good. So yeah, earnings on Shopify. I guess it's not a big impactor now, as it used to be. So I'm just trying to see. We've got Amazon aftermarket and Apple and Intel. So Facebook's the main one. And that has been tanking all day yesterday. Plummet on weak fourth quarter forecast and earnings miss. Right, so they missed. Right, okay. So there is strong case for a dump on the NASDAQ and the Dow today. Not Dow, S&P. Sorry, one sec. Is it in the Dow? So I need to just check this. Let's type Dow stock list. We're not in the Dow. So just in, right, so NASDAQ, we should get a dump on the NASDAQ today, which will obviously drag everything with it anyway. So hopefully that will give the US dollar a chance to rally. So sorry, I'm doing all this analysis because I wanted to see what happens with these. So looking at US dollar yen, which is what brought me to look at what's going on with the stocks today. It's all interlinked. there's a good chance we'll get some strength on the US dollar today because there's a good chance that we'll get a dump on the indices. So we get one with the other. If we can get that and we can get an ADR hit to the upside on US dollar yen, what I might do is take a little speculative short on the yen, again, US dollar yen, with a view for tomorrow morning while I'm asleep, getting some serious strength coming through on the yen. If they announce their monetary policy, so this is their fiscal policy basically, what they're going to do moving forward, and they've got a big stimulus package announced, we could see some very good strength off of the yen in the morning, like 150 ADR move before we even get to London. So if we can get that drop on the indices on those bad earnings today, we might be able to get the US dollar up to here, in which case I'll probably take a short on this. I would put a stop on it. So it will be a smaller position with a stop, sort of an ADR away, probably half an ADR to an ADR away. And then I'll put some pendings in to scale in with a view to trying to get a position going on that US dollar yen. But we're extended to the downside on this one, on the hourly and obviously on the 4 hourly. But this is on US dollar weakness and obviously the strength of this yen push. So this obviously got us down very, very quick after being embedded for a long time. And that's why we're embedded down here at the moment. So I can see that coming. We had hints of it, didn't we, when we were looking at this? Remember I said I got in short here, remember? I was like, we saw a big dump come in, and then we saw another big dump come in. We're like, something's coming. And this is why I took that trade there, that spot on entry. I took it because we had this massive rally. We were massively extended, and I'd seen loads of big short orders coming into the market. So we knew something was coming. Was not expecting it to be that big, obviously. But that stimulus package announcement, I think, will probably give the yen some strength moving forward. So anything against the yen, there's a good chance of dumping tomorrow. So if you see anything that's like a good entry, anything that's taking out a high on the yens, or anything that's extended on the yen, on the hourlies, for example. Not going to find anything at the moment, I don't think, because obviously everything is coming down against the yen. But yeah, so anything you can find extended to the upside. So, if you find yourself up here towards the end of New York, and then we get a bearish engulfing or a hammer or a shooting star rather, or some kind of candlestick pattern that says might be getting short on the hourly, good entry. But have a stop, but have it wide enough. Yeah, you saw what happened to me. If you weren't here at the beginning, that's what happened to me overnight. Yeah, I had a stop there. That's where we opened. We pushed down, but somehow I still got stopped out with the spread. So don't put your stop just above there. Put your stop half an ADR to an ADR away. It's not unusual to get spread by 30 pips, so probably an ADR away, just to be safe. So there's all your 4 hour extensions. So there's a few opportunities to get into shorts or get into trades in line with trend on all these 4 hour extensions. Hourlies is pretty much the same thing. CAD yen extended to the downside. So very nice extension down there. This is obviously on the CAD weakness. I wouldn't want to be really mean reverting this, especially what we've got coming potentially with the yen tomorrow. And don't forget, obviously, there is also, every time I say about this news that's coming, what we're expecting to happen, there is also completely the opposite that can happen. They can come out and announce their stimulus package, and the market can look at it and go, really, is that it? And then, boom, everything flies against the yen. The yen weakens, yeah? So just because they're announcing a big package doesn't mean it's going to be a good package, does it? Look at what happened with Liz Truss, yeah? Look what happened when she announced our stimulus package. Biggest drop we've had in a decade. Yeah, so it's not always a good thing when you announce to the market that you're making changes, because the market doesn't always like them, as we know. So, but we've seen intervention. They're not mucking about this time. They're serious about this intervention. We've had 200 plus ADR moves intervention. So good chance it's coming down. Swiss yen, again, extended to the downside. So if we get off of this RSI extension and pull back. If we get a decent move back up, opportunities for shorts. New Zealand dollar CAD, already in that one. So nicely extended and embedded after yesterday's Canadian dollar announcement. So just looking for some kind of pullback on that. As I said, the Canadian dollar, if we get that weakness on the indices this afternoon, we will get that strength on the US dollar. US dollar will drag the CAD with it. We should get some movement to the downside. And US dollar yen, obviously, big extensions to the downside on that one. The RSI 14s is pretty much the same thing, as you can see, just a little bit more extended. The only difference is we've got pound yen and euro yen. So euro yen we've got extended, which we didn't have on the other, and we've got the pound yen extended to the downside as well. So again, you can see obviously the market is moving down this morning. We've got some yen strength coming in, and you know, it's the same thing as we're seeing with the euro. Yeah, people tend to buy into the news. So we've had, you know, lots of buying into the euro rate announcement this afternoon. We're now getting buying into the yen announcement tomorrow morning. Doesn't mean it's going to go the way it's going to go. Don't forget what banks do is they manipulate price in one direction so everybody jumps on board, and then they whip it back the other way and take out your stop. Yeah, that's what their job is. Their job is to get orders put into the market so they can come and take them and make money with them. That's basically their job. So just because we are seeing this happening doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen. If we're pushing up this morning, everyone's going to go, right, yeah, let's buy the double bottom. Where's their liquidity? There. What they're going to do tomorrow? Take it. So see what happens today in New York. But I'm looking for a speculative short. I prefer the US dollar to anything because the US dollar is the reason the US dollar moves more, as you see with this. Yeah, these intervention moves with the US dollar are much bigger. Reason for that is when money's pumped into the yen, it's usually dragged out of the US dollar to do so. So you get double bubble. You get the yen strength and the US dollar weakness happening at the same time, which gives you that massive extension, which you don't get as much with the other pairs. Yeah. So euro we did. Again, big currency. A lot of money comes out of the euro. Euro's been pumped. Yeah. So there's a lot in there. If you want to take your money and put it into the yen, you've got to take it out of somewhere else it's being put. We know it's all been put in the euro because the euro's been pumped. So that's why it comes out faster. But the US dollar is obviously always the bigger of the bunch. So yeah, so that's everything at the moment. There's not really a lot else. I mean, there's loads of opportunity there on RSI extensions for mean reversion in line with trend. So those are what I would be getting onto. But obviously, I'm in squeezes at the moment. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the euro, basically. So my plan on that one today, as you can see, I've got an aggressive position underneath the Asian lows. We didn't quite make it up to the highs, did we? It's a shame. So we have just taken the Asian high. So we just attempted a higher day, which we're rejecting. Wouldn't be surprised if we come and take that and then go up. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cancel this off for a minute. Yeah. So I'm just taking that sell stop off. Reason being, we've just taken the Asian high. I can see them very easily taking the Asian low and then moving back to midline. Yeah. Don't look at what we're doing on the DAX. Yeah. We've put in our initial opening cash balance this morning, and all we're doing is just flip-flopping at the minute. Yeah. Market doesn't want to go anywhere, but it's in the market's interest to take all the money from Asia today. So everybody that is shorted today is dead. Everybody that's longed today, their liquidity is there. So come down and take that out and then move back. So what we've basically got is a flat market because nobody is now in it anymore, are they? So I'm just going to remove that for the moment, and I will see where we are at about 115. And then I will be looking to get an aggressive position on somewhere short. So, you know, if we have just hovered and done this, obviously the Asian low is going to be where I'm going to get in. If we've taken the Asian low out, that will be where I get in, underneath the low of the day. So I'm just looking to place an order under the low of the day, just before the news, basically. And I would either get gathered and stopped, or I'll get gathered and out. One of those two things. And as I say, I don't mind making a loss at the moment because I'm having a good month, but equally, it'd be nice to see this play out this afternoon. But the situation we're in. Anybody got anything else they want to have a look at? I haven't looked at oil and the indices. Let's have a look at the indices. So DAX, obviously, at the minute, we know we're in obviously bear market. So we're poking our head up. This was last earnings, July, sorry. Yeah, that's last earnings. And that was previous earnings. Yeah. So we're in earnings season at the moment, and it looks like we're having a bull run. So we're having the same run as here. So the difference being, when we started our bull run in July, we were sort of around here. It's not much difference, is it? So we're around here at the moment. So I suspect that we will potentially come up and sort of challenge somewhere around the 200 moving average, maybe. But obviously what we're seeing at the moment is quite a few misses on earnings. So we've seen Facebook miss. We've seen some big players missing over the last couple of days. And obviously some decent figures. But if you look at the what we had last earnings and then previous earnings, we do tend to get a very decent amount of movement up and down. So there's every chance we might get a down day today with Meta. And then we've got like Intel and other people coming out, which will probably give us a little bit of a push again. So I suspect we're going to see some not too big, not too small days on the indices moving forward. But the direction is going to be very, very clear at the open. So when the New York markets open, we'll see a decent move, and as we saw yesterday with some of the indices, which we'll look at in a second. But overall, if you look at the pullbacks we get above the 72, yeah, we're not getting too far away from where I think we should be starting next leg. You know, and next leg is coming. You know, we're not out of this bear market yet. We're just starting recessions worldwide, aren't we? We're just starting to get into a recession, which is a continuation of a bear market. So, you know, we're not out of this bear market yet, although some people might call for it. But so yeah, more downward movement. But as we're in earnings, we've got this high here to challenge. Yeah, which could well meet up the 200 over the next week or two. Earnings wise, we've got obviously today and then tomorrow and all of next week, we've got big players, you know, Qualcomm's, your PayPal's, your Starbucks, Airbnb's in there, Uber. So there's big companies, and then we start to peter out the beginning of November. So this week and next week is really where we're going to get all that volatility. As soon as that's all over, the markets will be back to normal, and we'll see US dollar strength potentially coming through, and obviously dump. So if you measure it, I could probably use my stick here, couldn't I? Something like that. Yeah, comparable to that move there before we start the next leg down. So I think we've got a little bit more upside on us, but it's not going to be necessarily bang, 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 bang to get there. So just price action wise, you just got to play it day by day at the moment. So looking at NASDAQ, same sort of thing. We got a lot further to go on the NAS. On the last pullback on the NASDAQ was a lot stronger. You can see from yesterday, we had we're getting more misses in the tech stocks. Look at the DAX yesterday, nice big push. Look at the NASDAQ yesterday, we had a bear candle. So we're getting a lot more misses in the tech stocks. I was short on the Dow yesterday and in the futures, and the NASDAQ was all over the place. The NASDAQ was absolutely flying, and then the Dow started to move and the NASDAQ dumped, and they were so out of sync yesterday. It was unbelievable. You just couldn't use anything to read anything yesterday. Look at the S&P, bull day, and then look at the Dow, bull day. Look at the NASDAQ, bear. Yeah, so it's everything, and this is what you get. And somebody mentioned about this last week. You get out of sync with the indices because you've got, like today, we've got tech stock announcement on Meta, negative. Doesn't affect the Dow, doesn't affect the S&P as much. So you've got to at the moment play every index differently. You are going to get some that are going to move a lot faster and be more volatile because obviously the earnings are affecting them more. So, but at the end of the day, we're all in a bear market. So this pullback is not far away from coming to an end, I don't think. But I wouldn't be surprised to see another few more days rally on it. Although it'll be a messy rally, I think. But anyway, we'll see. But looking for down on this. So as soon as earnings is over, I kind of want to get short. Look at it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the last 45 minutes, literally, we were on an inside bar. Look. We haven't broken out of this bar. I'd be very surprised if this one does. You never know, though. We got 1 minute 40. Let's see if this ends as a hammer. Wouldn't put it past it, would you? So yeah, it's a mess at the minute. So yeah, indices, oil. Now, oil. Yesterday we had a beautiful day on oil yesterday. So we had the oil figures out yesterday. Annoyingly, yellow. So crude oil inventories always come out 3:30 on a Wednesday. So that's Thursday. 3:30 on a Wednesday. Negative again. So if you look at the last few, we've been very all over the place, and it hasn't been reacting in the usual way. So when we get these figures, which are meant to be good for oil and bad for oil, it's not been doing what we expect. So the typical way that this works is if you have a negative balance on oil barrels, it means there's less of it available, which tends to push prices up. When you have a positive balance, as you can see, it's red because it's plus 9.9 million. We got nearly 10 million more barrels than we were expecting to have in stock. That tends to push the prices down. Yesterday, we were negative because we had a positive barrel count, and look what happened to oil. So oil seems to be at the moment, curiously, acting completely the opposite to what you would expect supply and demand market to do. So we had that big push. This is what I was calling as the low because we broke structure, new low. Now I'm expecting a new high on our way to today. Is anybody in oil at the moment? I know Diamond was in it. I know some people were in it. This is what we're calling 110, 100 to 110 a barrel by Christmas. So that is a really good positive move towards that level. So interested in oil now, and even to the extent that I'd be happy to take a break out of the highs, because I think now we've had this called as the low. Yeah, this was the control candle when we pushed down to here. So we had an inside bar, we had a shooting star or Doji, push out the highs and reject. We try to push out again, spinning top. We try to push out again, spinning top. We try to push out again. Doji, pushed out again, held. We didn't just hold, we smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. So we've now broken out. So look at oil when we break out on oil. Bang, 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 bang. Power. We have lots of big, strong moves on oil. So there's a good chance that we might well get a continuation push back up to these highs for the next couple of days. If not, we'll get a pullback, and I think we will find you'll get this as your new control candle, and I don't think we'll break this low. So $85 a barrel, which is 84.67. So 85's there. 50% ADR, 50% pullback on the move. Yeah, $50 a barrel. $85 a barrel. Too many numbers. I think that's our new low that we can call in this. So I'd be looking for breaks of the highs on oil. And in fact, on my funded account, I've got a pending order sitting up there at the moment. I'm not going to do it on this account at the minute, just because I've got too much drawdown at the moment to take on any more instruments. So, but I am doing it on my funded account. So basically, if you drop down to a lower time frame, anyone, doesn't matter, and look at yesterday's high, pending order above the high. And if we're going to get the continuation, fine. If it takes out the high and pulls back, yesterday's low, which is here. There's a lot on this chart, isn't there? But yesterday's low, which is there. So that is that massive bull candle from yesterday. This is what I think is probably going to act as support. It could well break down below that, but I don't think it will break and hold on a day below that level. So if that's going to act as your control candle, yes, we can move outside of it, but normally we would break back up inside it. We can move outside of it. We can break back down inside of it. So it's exactly the same as I showed you on, what did I just show you the control candle on? Yeah, this one, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So there's our new low. So if we are going to, if this is the low, low, high, higher low, looking for a higher high, we shouldn't really move down and break down below that level. Yeah, might spike it, might not get anywhere near it, but that's what I'll be looking for. So breaks above the high, otherwise scale in nicely. Same thing, quarter of an ADR to half an ADR. We've got 36 ADR on this. So if you look at it on M15, if you were to get in there, your second entry would be no shallower than that, 38 retracement, somewhere around there, and then another one down at ADR. Yeah, so you could in effect take 1, 2, 3 positions if we get a pullback, and then look for a push. We might break that level, in which case you'd have a fourth on there, but you would want to see some bullish price action coming out of this low, previous day's low. Yeah, so if it was to pull back, I would expect a spike down to the previous day's low to hold and then put in some kind of hammer. Yeah, so that we're breaking and closing back up inside this candle. So yeah, it looks good on oil for longs, I think. But you never know. They could come out at the moment and say anything, couldn't they? It's oil. And they like to have meetings and they like to discuss. But November, we have got that production cap in place. And there was more talk yesterday by the US of capping production. Capping the price on Russian oil. Price cap level is trending higher than the initial US plans. So there is these sorts of interventions that can be put into place. But what tends to happen is if one of the large producers has a price cap inflicted upon them, i.e. they say, we're not going to pay more than $90 a barrel to Russia, and we need to still buy oil, we'll just go and get it somewhere else. Basically, somewhere else will offer it for 87. So worst case scenario, what you would tend to get when you get caps put into place, price caps, this is not production caps, is you get that. Yeah, we get some sideways action for a bit. And then something will change and something will break, so but institutions are calling this, Russia's happy here, 80 to 90. Everyone else is wanting higher prices, i.e. everyone else, i.e. oil producers, Saudis and that sort of stuff. So yeah, looking for good moves to the upside on that. That's about it, really. Someone asked me about gold as well. Emilio, don't know if you're in here. So Emilio's in a short on gold at 16 something. 1656. So here, so not far away. We're only a tiny move away. But yeah, looking gold. Gold is obviously just another cross on the US dollar. So strong US dollar, weak gold. Obviously, it does move on its own accord as well, but it's very strangulated at the moment with the Russian gold embargo. So no one can buy Russian gold. Everybody's put what's it called when you stop doing stuff with someone? You know what I mean. We're not sanctions. So there's sanctions on Russian gold. So one of the biggest hoarders of gold is not able to sell it. So therefore, this becomes much more reliant on US dollar pricing and US dollar movement. So no reason why this shouldn't continue to the downside. A little bit of a weak US dollar. But yeah, I'll be looking to sell it 24.72 area now even. Really is a good sell on that. If you look at the hourly yesterday, we had a nice extension to the upside. We did there as well. But yeah, it's a good sell, I think, at the moment, gold. And depends how long you're obviously holding it for, but a little bit of strength based off of US dollar weakness at the minute. But again, when that strengthens up, we'll continue that downtrend. I just don't trade that one. So not in oil at the moment, the almond, no. Good time to get in it though, I think, today. See what happens. It's looking pretty strong at the moment. Again, this morning, we had that little bit of a dump, but we'll see if we get this reversal alert. If this reversal alert holds, this is why I was saying, take a break of the high. If we're going to get a multi-day push, 3 or 4 day run like we do get on oil, taking that break of the high is going to get you into that, isn't it? If we don't do that, we've got the reversal alert and retest, we're going to get that M pattern move back down, and I'd be looking to buy somewhere down in support for next leg up. Remember I said we shouldn't break yesterday's low and hold yesterday's low. Shouldn't hold below yesterday's low as a close. So down here. But obviously if it breaks and holds, if this doesn't hold, this reversal alert here, we'll be off. If it does, we're going to get a reversal alert somewhere down here at some point in today. And that's where I'd be looking to get in. But I'm not looking to do it on this account. I'm looking to do it on my funded, because this account's got too much riding on the euro at the minute. Apart from the euro, apart from this euro Swiss position, I'm quite comfortable. Aussie New Zealand's 1.24, pound Swiss 1.24. We're less than 1% on everything else. It's just this euro Swiss. This is just squeezing me too hard at the moment. If I didn't have that, if that was a normal 1 or 2%, I'd be on this as well. But I just can't put any more exposure on at the moment. It's just too deep, apart from what I've already got. But we'll see. Right, that's all I've got for you today. So obviously be aware today, big news, Euro forecast at 2%. And you want to watch what Lagarde says afterwards as well, 1:45. So she'll probably talk for half an hour to an hour. And obviously we've got market open at 2:30. So this is timed to usually be done and dusted before New York Open. And then we'll see what happens. But I'm hoping today we're going to get some kind of weakness coming through on these Euro pairs. But there's no movement at the moment. DAX has just pushed back up again. Nowhere near the opening range highs, obviously, at the minute. So chop. Not going to be a good day today for index trading. This afternoon will be better, and I'll be looking for shorts this afternoon, as I say, on the US indices. Right, that's all I've got for you this morning. Anything you need, come into the Telegram group. I will be in there, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Tomorrow morning, yeah, business as usual, 7:50, same time. I will be on. So, and we'll see what happens when I analyse the aftermath of the euro, and we'll obviously analyse the aftermath of the yen, and we'll see where we are with everything. But hopefully, we'll get some negative movement euro today, and we'll start that next leg down. But we'll see what Lagarde has to say for herself. Either that, or I'm just going to take a bit more loss today and reset. But we'll see. Okay, have a good one, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time. If you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, I will hopefully see you guys in the morning. So have a good day.